An NTTV special report, UNTPrez Talks, with Dr. Neil Simontrisk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to another episode of UNTPrez Talk, where we have a conversation with President Neil Simontrisk. How are you doing today, President Simontrisk?
I'm doing great, Michaela. How are you?
I'm good. Another day, another dollar, just like I always like to say. Happy Tuesday. Let's just go ahead and dive right in. Over the past week, maybe two, many students have been emailed asking to get tested for coronavirus before they return to campus. Why are these specific students? Can you go into more detail about that?
Well, we've collaborated with the University of Texas, and they have a random sampling program that's supposed to help establish a scientifically relevant baseline for how much infection we have in the Movein. So we've sent notifications out to students who were, I believe, randomly selected according to this statistical model. And it's not, an intrusion. There's nothing specific about those students in this. It is simply our desire to try to understand what we're going to be dealing with when students get into the residence halls. So, for example, if we move 6,000 students in, and we can assume there's 1% active infections, we would expect 60 students to have coronavirus when they come to campus. Now, those numbers are too big. Real numbers would be down around 15 or 20, but we don't know because this population hasn't been sampled successfully. So what this will do is it'll give us an idea of what the infection rate might be so that we can be better prepared to help isolate students and to manage cases as they come into campus.
Okay, and can you tell us, is it possible for you to tell us the number of students that were selected for the first random testing of coronavirus?
I'm not sure, but I think we're testing 10%.
10%? Okay, and then is that number going to continue to grow, or is it going to stay the same as students are back on campus?
Well, we've got the initial one, and then we have this kind of pod-style arrangement where we'll be randomly sampling people out of pods. And I expect that as we get a handle on this, we understand what's going on, that at some point the testing will drop off.
Okay, and moving on to last week's town hall meeting, budget reductions were brought up. What kind of budget reductions can we expect, including how big?
We're still not sure yet, because at the end of the day, it depends on enrollment and whether we get a stimulus package. If the stimulus package passes and enrollment's strong, I don't think we'll have to see any significant further budget reductions than the ones we've already taken. If enrollment is as bad as we had originally predicted in spring, which meant we'd be about down 25% with international students and maybe 3 or 4% with domestic students, then we would anticipate that we would be down somewhere on the order of $40 million, which is a pretty big chunk of change. We're taking cuts right now in our budget, and we took cuts last spring to try to accommodate that, but it can't cover it all. So we're really in a wait-and-see posture. Come the end of September, we'll know if we have to take the rest of the cuts that we've proposed or not. But the good news is right now, fall enrollment is up, not down, which is a little surprising. But what we are worried about is that freshman and transfer enrollment's down, and that creates a problem for future years, as well as for this year. So again, international students, I've talked to you about before, international student enrollment is still strong. We're at about 90% of where we were last year, which is way better than we predicted. The fact that domestic and returning student enrollment is up means retention's improved and students are trying to complete their degree. So with a little luck, we'll be in good financial shape come fall. But if we see a big surge, if we have to go remote, if something else happens, we want to be prepared by understanding all the contingencies possible so that we can make sure that we stay fiscally solvent and continue to offer a great education to our students.
Okay, that's absolutely amazing. Fall enrollment is at the exact same, international 90%. I think that that's going to be really good news to everybody. On to a little bit of a lighter note, We are officially 3 days away from move-ins for dorms across campus. Are there any tips and tricks that you can offer to the stressed out parents and the excited students?
Well, first I'd say we've got move-in blocks where there'll be very few people in the dorms, in the residence halls. We've expanded the time for almost a week. They can sign up for specific slots. They have a half an hour time slot in which they can, with the help of volunteers and our RAs and so forth, move the stuff they need up into their rooms. So they shouldn't be stressed. In some ways, I think move-in will be easier this year than it's ever been. In fact, this might be a model for how we do it in the future, as opposed to long lines and crowds. And of course, the excitement that comes with that. There'll never be more than 15 people in a building at one time moving in. Of course, after that, a lot of parents have been very concerned. They've said, well, or students, they said, can our parents hang out? Can we go out to Walmart and buy, I don't know, a microwave or, get some decorations for the room? And the answer is, of course, you can. So but the move-in slot where there's people reserved and carts reserved and all that is good for a half an hour. So I think it's going to go easy. I still think there'll be excitement. There just won't be the same kind of long lines and crowds and cars piled up with stuff and refrigerators and microwaves sitting on the curb that you usually see.
That sounds amazing. And as someone who was once a freshman moving into dorms, I think we 100% should keep that going for many years to come. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much. Is there anything you would like to add?
No, you know what? There is a little something, and I'm going to probably keep reminding people about this one. We've noticed that there's some students who get a little bit relaxed when they move into the residence halls and may not be wearing their face mask or social distancing as well as they should. I can't emphasize enough. Face masks are healthy for the wearer as well as for the people who may be protected if someone actually has COVID. So please, please, please wear your face masks in all interactions with other people and try to stay 6 feet apart. It's how we're going to stay safe on campus. It's something that I can't emphasize enough. It's not like you have to follow the rules when you're in class or in the student union and the rest of the time you can forget them. Even if you're an off-campus student living in an apartment, please be safe, please cover up, please maintain social distancing, and don't take foolish risks. We're learning a lot more about COVID. We're learning a lot more about what generates people who are asymptomatic. And what we do know is that masks help everybody. So please wear your masks.
And I think that's the most perfect note to end on. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching UNTPrez Talks.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You've been watching an NTTV special report, UNTPrez Talks, with Dr. Neil Smatris.